Hi, welcome to my channel. Today's video, what are you feeling about a specific person in your life? It doesn't matter who that person is, could be a romantic interest, a family member, a work colleague, a friend. It's a specific person to you. Something's going on with them. They're not treating you in the way that you would like to be treated by them. What is going on within you? Because the way that somebody shows up to you, it's reality showing that person to you in the way that you are expecting them to show to you. So the way that you believe that they feel about you, the way that you talk to yourself a lot. See, what we tend to do is this. We know that good mental diet is really important, and we know that if we tell ourselves a story, then that is what's going to show up to us. So we start trying to tell ourselves another story, but whilst all the time feeling the old story, so feeling the negative version. So it doesn't really matter what you say to yourself if you're feeling the opposite. So you have to kick out that old thing and think, I need to get rid of that completely. If I want something to change, I have to change it within, because as my other video states, and I don't know if I'm going to put that up now or after, you cannot change anything on the outside. You can't. It's impossible to change something on the outside. It has to change on the inside. It changes on the inside, it changes on the outside, because this is all part of one system. So whilst you may be going along telling yourself this amazing new story about how this person feels about you in line with how you want them to feel, what are you actually feeling? So are you dropping back into the feeling, which is very strong, the feeling of what we can see, the confirmation bias we have for what we can see in reality, confirmation bias, makes that story really, really strong because we can see it. If you keep dropping back to the old story, then that is what you're dominant in, because it's going to be stronger than the new story, because again, you have confirmation bias. So you have to notice that you're doing that. So if you want to change something, you have to change it inside, and you have to notice that you're doing that and stop yourself from doing it. So yes, you might have a negative thought and a negative feeling, but it's how you react to that negative thought and negative feeling about the situation. If you ruminate on it and go into detail with it and start having a conversation with yourself in your head, or just feeling hard done by because of this situation, that is your dominant feeling. That is mostly where your focus is. So yes, you're having these great bits where you're feeling good, but you are dropping back. So you're dropping back into a dominant energy, which is, I don't have it, they're not behaving like this, they're behaving like that. So you are just going to see more of that. That is going to be what shows up in your reality. So in order to get something different, you will see things online saying, change somebody's behavior is easy. Now, in theory, it's easy. In theory, it is easy. In theory, everything's easy. But it's easy if you don't have resistance. And with people, there's generally either a ton of resistance or enough to make it not easy, because we've got other stuff going on. We have conflicting things going on inside of us, and we have to look at those conflicting things and deal with them. So either stop thinking about them, stop noticing the feeling and changing the feeling to something better when you notice it. So if you notice the negativity creep in, but they did this and they did that, just change it in the moment. For anything, it doesn't even have to be related to the same subject. You want to change the thought that you're having in that moment to something positive, whether it's related to them or just related to something else in your life. That's what you're looking at doing, is stopping that negative rumination. It's the rumination that is the dominant energy, and that is when we drop into that, we are just going to carry on seeing more of that. We can't see the new when we keep dropping back into the old. As Neville said, you cannot serve two masters. And that's what you're doing if you are creating this new version and creating this new reality for yourself and then going back to the old one. You are serving two masters. You're serving the old and you're serving the new, and you can't do that. You can't, it just doesn't work. There's always going to be something that's more dominant, and the probability is that the negative and the story that you don't want is going to be more dominant, because it's what you can see at the moment. And what we can see is always going to be really strong, but we have to notice it, and we can kick it out. We can swap it for something else. The best bit of advice I can give you is don't obsess over it. Just do not obsess over changing a person, changing a person's behavior, because it can't change on the outside. It has to change on the inside first. So do it as an experiment, do it as a game, treat it as a game. So this is fun, let's see if I can do this. Let's just see if I can do this. Do not take it too seriously. Do not put all your efforts into it, because if you put all of your efforts into it, you are then in a trying energy, and it's a push energy. And whatever it is, the behavior that you want from that person is going to pull pull away. So it cannot help it, because that seems to be the law of this weird shit science. It does. What if you want, the more you want it, the more it pulls away, because the more you want it, that more kind of like push energy you have. How can I make this work? How can I make this person behave like this? What can I do? Don't be disheartened if you see a video that says it's easy and feel like you're doing something wrong. What is wrong with you? Because clearly it's easy for other people. It isn't easy for most other people, because most other people have conflicting emotions. The people that it's easy for are the people that have never heard about this before and see this video and think, oh, I'll give that a go. And they do, and they have no resistance. So it happens really easily. I've done it easily in the past, but I've done it with no resistance, and I've done it with not really any trying to do it. It just happened naturally. So yes, it can be easy. But for most of us, when you are actively trying to manifest something, particularly a change in somebody's behavior, look at the resistance you're going to have there. You are going to have some. It's very, very natural. So for you to be able to do this easily would be unnatural, because you've got a lot of resistance going on in there. Look at the resistance. What can I do? Your main bit of resistance to changing the way somebody behaves will be the fact that you are slipping back into the old energy. And you are reminding yourself of why things are the way they are, and you are rationalizing it. They're doing this because of this, they're behaving like this because of that. So you are rationalizing the irrational, because actually they're doing that because you believe that that's what they feel about you. You believe in that behavior from them. You believe that that is what you expect that from them, because this is what you've always had from them, or what you've had from them on a regular basis, enough to give you that confirmation bias to make that feeling really, really strong. So the first thing, a bit of advice I would give to you is this, well, the thing, not taking it too seriously and let's see what I can do with this, just have a go and see. I'm not going to get hung up on it, because it's just a person. If they carry on behaving like this, well, they're doing it now anyway, so what's the difference? Secondly is monitor your thoughts, your negative thoughts on the subject. So when you get a negative thought, which isn't in line with what you want, notice it. So notice it and do it like an experimental thing. Okay, I'm doing that and I've gone into that a little bit. Right, I need to stop that. Swap it with a positive thought, a positive, anything positive that you can swap it in the moment, and then bring it back. And then when it will happen again, and do it again, and see, and I would write it down and see how many times in a day do I drop back into that old energy. It'd be really interesting, actually, an interesting exercise, and it will probably be quite a few times that you've dropped back into it whilst doing, manifesting something different, but dropping back into the old energy. Have a monitor of it, and just, that will really see where you're going with your energy. You've got to be really, really honest with yourself, super honest with yourself, and do this. So I'm going to do this for 3 days. Have an experiment and see how many times I drop into that old energy. You might find that you're just watching the TV and you're not feeling too bad, and then you suddenly notice, but I am feeling that lack of this behaviour from them. I'm feeling the way things are now. Write it down. That's it too. Just because it's not a short, sharp thing, it could be just there underlying. Every time you feel it, write it down, and then you will know what your dominant energy is, and then you'll be aware of it then, and then you can deal with it. We can't deal with things when we're not aware of it, but do please bear in mind that you cannot force a change on the outside. The change has to come on the inside first, because that's the way this works. Right, I hope this was useful. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, then I would love for you to do that.